What if a city could exist in two eras simultaneously? Where drones fly overhead and AI operates our daily lives. But just a few streets away, there are still old neighborhoods preserving the memories of a small fishing village. This is Shenzhen, where past and future coexist. Some people say the future does not exist yet, that it is something waiting for us somewhere ahead. But then, things began to change. Shenzhen, a place where, at times, you feel as though you have stepped several decades into the future. Self-driving vehicles glide silently through the streets. Technologies that once existed only in science fiction movies. And perhaps the most unbelievable part is that just over 40 years ago, this was still a small fishing village on the coast. Today, it is home to more than 20 million people, one of the fastest growing technology hubs on the planet. And that raises a question. How could a place as ordinary as this become the city of the future? It is hard to believe that this place was once just a small fishing village. But in 1980, everything began to change. Located right next to Hong Kong, the area was chosen to become China's first special economic zone. An ambitious experiment. Built almost from scratch. And in just a few decades, it grew into a megacity with tens of millions of residents. A transformation so rapid that, even today, it still feels almost impossible. The first signs appear the moment you wake up. A robot delivers breakfast directly to your hotel room door. And that is only the beginning. As you enter Futian, the heart of Shenzhen, you are surrounded by wide boulevards, green parks, and massive glass towers. The most prominent of them is the Ping An Finance Center, one of the tallest buildings in the world. Everything here creates the same impression, that the city is unlike anywhere else. But the most impressive thing is not the buildings. It is the way the city operates. Beneath the busy streets lies a vast subway network with more than 500 metro stations spread across the city. Meanwhile, AI-powered systems continuously analyze and coordinate traffic in real time. Everything seems to be designed to move faster and operate more efficiently. More space for pedestrians. And when you watch the entire system operating at the same time, it feels as though you are not inside a city, but inside a giant machine. And then, you begin to see things that once existed only in science fiction movies. A drone carrying food descends from the sky and lands right in front of you. Self-driving taxis move quietly through the streets without a driver behind the wheel. At first, it feels a little strange. But after only a few minutes, it starts to feel completely normal. And that is when a question begins to emerge. If cars no longer need drivers, could there come a day when they no longer need roads? Because in Shenzhen, the future of transportation seems to be only beginning. But what may surprise you even more is that the technology here is not built for display. It is woven into nearly every part of daily life. Coffee-making robots, street-cleaning robots. Payments made with a single tap on a smartphone. In some places, you can even pay by scanning the palm of your hand. In parks, on city streets, and throughout public spaces, QR codes and sensors are everywhere. And after a while, you begin to realize the strangest thing. People no longer see it as technology. It is simply the way life works. There is something else you quickly begin to notice. This city is surprisingly quiet. The reason can be found everywhere on its streets. More than 16,000 electric buses. More than 21,000 electric taxis. Along with hundreds of thousands of charging points deployed across the city. The familiar sound of combustion engines has almost disappeared. In its place is a transportation system that operates smoothly and continuously. This is simply everyday life for millions of people. And the more you explore this city, the more you realize that everything seems to be managed with remarkable precision. Cameras can be seen along roads in transit stations and throughout public spaces. For some people, that is a controversial reality. But for many residents here, it brings something more tangible. A sense of security. Even late at night, the city continues to operate in an orderly and peaceful manner, a noticeably different experience from many major cities in the United States or Europe. And that may be one of Shenzhen's biggest questions. Can technology trade a measure of freedom for a greater sense of order? If Shenzhen is a place where the future is already being used, then Huaqiangbei is where the future is created. At first glance, it looks like a massive electronics marketplace. But behind thousands of stalls lies an ecosystem that very few cities in the world can match. Chips, sensors, cameras, drones. Almost every electronic component can be found here. And perhaps the most remarkable thing is the speed. In many places, turning an idea into a product can take weeks or even months. But in Huaqiangbei, a simple sketch can sometimes become a working prototype in just a matter of hours. And that is why many people call this place the factory of the future. Because countless technologies that are changing the world today began on these very streets. But components and ideas alone are not enough. What truly transformed Shenzhen into a technology capital are the companies that grew out of this very ecosystem. One of them is DJI, the company behind a large share of the drones flying across skies around the world today. From a small startup, DJI has become a dominant force in the global drone market. At its Sky City headquarters, the future is not just imagined. It is being tested every single day. Not far away is Tencent, the technology giant behind WeChat. An app used by billions of people to communicate, make payments work, and stay connected to everyday life. From drones to artificial intelligence, from hardware to digital ecosystems. What makes Shenzhen different is not just its technology. It is the companies that are constantly creating the next generation of technology. And they are only getting started. But behind the skyscrapers, the drones, and the AI systems, the true engine of Shenzhen is still its people. This is one of the youngest cities in China. The average age is just over 30. Every year, millions of engineers, programmers, and young entrepreneurs come here in search of opportunity. From AI assistants to startups, trying to create the next product that could change the world. But opportunity always comes with competition. In a city where everyone wants to move faster, standing still is hardly an option. And perhaps that is Shenzhen's greatest secret. Not AI, not robots, but millions of people constantly pushing the future forward. In many parts of the world, technologies like drones and robots are still seen as visions of the future. But in Shenzhen, they have already become part of everyday life. Food delivery drones fly across city parks. Service robots can be found in stores and shopping malls. 3D printers continuously create new products in just a matter of hours. Meanwhile, smart applications make everything from payments and transportation to shopping possible with only a few taps. Because here, the future is no longer an idea. It is being used every day. And when technology becomes so ordinary, you begin to wonder what comes next. But living in the future is not always easy. Housing prices in many areas rank among the highest in China. An ordinary apartment can cost millions of dollars. Meanwhile, millions of young people are striving to build their careers in an environment that moves at an extraordinary pace. Here, the opportunities are enormous, but the pressure is just as intense. Because in a city that is always looking forward, everyone must keep moving to avoid being left behind. And that is what Shenzhen reminds you. The future can be incredibly attractive, but it is never free. And Shenzhen is far from finished. In districts such as Huaqiangbei, a new generation of urban development is still taking shape. Wide boulevards, modern residential communities, newly completed buildings. Everything feels as though it has been built for tomorrow. On the streets, patrol robots are becoming an increasingly common sight. In shopping malls and cafes, service robots have already become part of everyday life. But not every corner of Shenzhen is made of glass, steel, and algorithms. At OCT Loft, the atmosphere is completely different. Former factories have been transformed into art galleries, cafes, and creative spaces. There are no giant skyscrapers. No sense that everything must operate with perfect efficiency. Instead, there is freedom, spontaneity, and a touch of chaos. And it is precisely that imperfection that makes this place special. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, people still need places to create, express themselves, and slow down. Perhaps that is what makes Shenzhen more balanced than many people imagine. Amid modern skyscrapers and cutting-edge technology, there is still a place that belongs to another era. Nantou Ancient Town, one of the few areas that still preserves traces of Shenzhen before it became a mega-city. Narrow alleyways, old houses. A pace of life that is far slower than the rest of the city. Walking through this place feels like moving between two worlds. One is the past, the other is the future. And it is this contrast that makes Nantou so special. Even though Shenzhen has transformed almost everything, it still preserves a piece of the memory of where the story began. The pace of life in Shenzhen can be overwhelming for many people. The city is known for its competition speed and relentless pressure. But it also knows how to give people a chance to slow down. 24-hour spas operate around the clock. Entertainment centers, movie theaters, and relaxation spaces fill up on weekends. After intense workdays, people come to these places to recharge. It is an interesting contrast. Working at the speed of the future. Yet still making time to enjoy life. And perhaps it is that balance that allows this city to keep moving forward without ever truly stopping. To understand Shenzhen, you must understand that this city was never built in the conventional way. It began as an experiment, a place created to test new ideas, new models, and an entirely different approach to development. At the Urban Planning Museum, that story becomes remarkably clear. From simple manufacturing factories to technology hubs, drones, and artificial intelligence. In just a few decades, the city has continuously reinvented itself. And perhaps the most remarkable thing is that the experiment is still not over. Because Shenzhen is more than just a city. It is a large-scale experiment in what the future might look like. In just over 4 decades, Shenzhen has transformed from a small fishing village into one of the most advanced technology hubs on the planet. A city of AI, drones, self-driving vehicles, and ideas that are shaping the future. But after everything, the real question is not how quickly Shenzhen has changed. It is whether this is the future that the rest of the world is moving toward. So what do you think? Is this the most advanced city in the world? Or is there another place that deserves that title even more? Let us know in the comments below.